whisper when you walk by, like you don't hear a thing. But every word feels heavy, like stones they try to sling. You smile but your heart's aching. You wonder what you did, but there's a voice inside your head saying, child, remember this. You are more than what they say, more than all the lies. There's a truth that hasn't changed, written in the skies. You are chosen, you are loved, you are held in perfect grace. Every tear that falls at night, God is counting face. When the world says you're not enough, He says you are mine. You are stronger than the storm, braver than they know. Let them talk. You shine. Oh. They don't know your story. They don't see your heart. They can't see the masterpiece that God has set you apart. Every scar is shaping, every prayer is heard. He is building you in silence with every single word. You are more than these lies, more than this hard year. He is walking right beside you, even when it's unclear. You are chosen, you are loved, you are held in perfect grace. Every tear that falls at night, God is counting face to face. When the world says you're not enough, He says you are mine. You are stronger than the storm, braver than they know. Let them talk. You shine. Don't believe the liars when they spread rumors. Listen to the Savior. Let His truth fill your head. He calls you beautiful. He calls you brave. No bullying this broken world can take the light He gave. You're a child of the King. You don't wear the chains. You don't have to fight that fight. He will break their claim. You are chosen, you are loved, you are held in perfect grace. Every tear that falls at night, God is counting face to face. When the world says you're not enough, He says you are mine. You are stronger than the storm, braver than they know. Let them talk. You shine. Let them talk. You
All right. Thank you. Isn't that a beautiful song? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Around Town TV Live. My name is Carla Berlin. Tonight's conversation is one that affects all of us, whether you've experienced it or we've experienced it ourselves, witnessed it, or watched someone we care about go through it. We're talking about bullying. This isn't just a conversation about what's happening, it's about what we can do. You're going to meet a woman who saw bullying happening right in front of her. And instead of driving by, she stopped, stepped in, and changed the outcome in a way you wouldn't expect. Another guest who turned a deeply personal experience spanning from childhood to the boardroom into a powerful song with purpose. This is about courage, compassion, and standing up when it matters most. Oh, I think we lost Ron. We'll see if he
He had sent a message that said he lost his sound, so I think he probably was going to just re-sign in.
Oh, sounds good. Yep, and there, I bet he was. Perfect. That was perfect timing. We'll add him back.
There he is.
All right. Got your sound back, Ron. Oh my gosh. That was perfect. You didn't miss a beat. Please welcome to the show, Ron Wulfkuhle and Don Staycoff. Thank you both for being here.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Carla.
Yes, we've got a lot to talk about, a lot of courage and a lot of great stories. And to open the show, I want to introduce business executive, entrepreneur, board member, Christian worship band performer. He also has a wonderful wife that I know, Margie, 5 adult kids, 10 grandkids, and 1 great grandson. Please welcome Ron Wulfkuhle. Thank you again, Ron.
Thanks so much, Carla. It's just fantastic to finally be on Around Town after I've seen it for so many years.
It's such a treat to have you, and of course, the topic tonight is bullying. And Ron, you wrote that amazing song, "Let Them Talk." What motivated you to write that song?
Yeah, it's sort of heartbreaking. With our 10 grandkids and 5 kids, we've seen a lot of things, but one of our grandchildren in particular is just this incredible human being, straight A student, volunteers to help disabled kids, all state choir. It's like if you see this grandchild, it's like, oh my gosh, they've got it all together. They're like, they must have this impenetrable armor around them. Yet, one night I called and the grandchild was just sobbing, and her parent was really distraught as well, and it turned out that kids had been making fun of her, and so you have this child who, for all practical purposes, I'm bragging a little bit as the granddad, but just I mean, you couldn't ask for more, right? In a young adult, and then to find that this person was subject to bullying was just heartbreaking. I mean, when I was in school, kids got picked on, and I think probably still today, unfortunately, if there's some like outward appearance difference, or they talk different, or this kind of thing. In this case, it's like this perfectly normal, great human being, just getting torn apart. And so it's like the original, the first draft of the song that I sat down and wrote was actually as a letter to this grandchild. But then as I started writing it, it brought back lots of memories of my own that I start to realize, oh my gosh, sometimes you walk the same path and history repeats itself. And so then the song started to take shape around not just the one incident, but really more broadly what humans get subjected to by other humans.
Oh, wow. Well, and I can't even imagine, and actually I do understand how it opens up wounds, because I started as well to think about some things from growing up. But when I think back to this song, this is a vulnerable song to write. What prompted you to put it out into the public, Let Them Talk?
Yeah, so I guess for me, writing songs or writing music is a little bit like journaling, maybe in therapy, right? Sort of getting those inside feelings onto paper. And there's a song that I had sent on a private Facebook group, and I just said, is this too strong? Is it too emotional, too powerful? Not that this particular song, a different one. And 3 different people came back and commented. They were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. And this one was even more vulnerable than this. Hopefully, if all goes well, it'll be published someday in the future. But when these 3 different people came back to me with this feedback that I just, I had tears, and it just like touched my heart. I realized, what is there to lose, right? And then maybe that's how one stands up to bullying, is what is there to lose, right? You put it out there, and if people comment negative, okay, well, maybe they got something off their chest. But if it can even just reach one person, so that one person can lay down their head tonight and think, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And there's a bigger picture here, right? There's a bigger power than what somebody can say. And we just can't, like the opening of the song where words can be like stones in a sling. They can hurt so bad, but
Yes.
and it's so hard to rise above that.
It is. And even though you know what you need to do to rise above it and not let it bother you, it's easier said than done. And I've seen and heard about so many stories like your grandchild that went through this. And I think what initially touched me is why is there so much? And then I realized, and you shared, and I have experienced too, it isn't just kids; it's all
Right.
ages. And like I said in my post, it doesn't discriminate about age or workforce or neighborhoods or communities or etc. So it just thank you for what you did. I saw the song, I reached out, and then of course knowing Dawn's story, I'm like, ask, that's how I even thought about doing this show because I knew it needed to be done. The lyrics that are particularly insightful are um, and I want to ask you because they're not only insightful and future looking, but what's behind the meaning of every scar is shaping, every prayer is heard, he's building you in silence with every single word. That is grabs me. Well, the whole song does, but let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, even though I wrote them, I just got goosebumps when you read them back because it's that emotional to me. And what I mean by that is when I look back on my own life and what I have learned and thankfully to my wife Margie, who's just this incredible partner, where she helped me understand that hurt people hurt. And when I reflect back, I started to realize that when people were saying those words, it wasn't necessarily it was things they had to say because they were hurting and
Mhm.
they were, for whatever reason, wanting to think somehow it would help them feel better if they hurt someone else. And so then I also realized some of those things that I went through really were shaping me for the future. And if we have time, we can maybe unpack a little bit of it. A particular
Yes.
incident in fifth grade and one in seventh grade, where in hindsight, it really got me ready for challenges in the business world and challenges in the professional world that you run into. And then
Mhm.
you can start to fall back on, oh gosh, this worked when I was 10 years old. Let's see how it does
Right.
now.
Yes, absolutely. I do want to come back and if you're willing to share the fifth and seventh grade story, and then of course, being an executive, what you went through. But I want to ask all of those of you who are tuning in, because I know we do have a lot of people online. Have you ever witnessed a incident going on, and did you step in or do you wish you had? Well, my next guest did. She was very brave. It's a great story, and I'm so thankful to have her on the show. She's an office supervisor and senior executive at Medica. She's an experienced business system analyst, event planner extraordinaire. She's a proud auntie and dog mama to Helen.
Yep.
And I love this quote that she has on her website. Life is more fun when you laugh with people instead of at them. Please welcome Don Staycoff. Don,
Hello.
yes.
I'm
And I
happy
know
to
I,
be here.
yes, and I know I introduced you in the beginning, but for those who are just turning in, we have people jumping in and out. Don, you did do something.
Yeah.
Would please share your story? It's so powerful.
Well, I'm not sure how brave it was because it was children and there wasn't a big threat. But one morning I had taken my dog to the beauty parlor because it was, her spa day. And on my way back, I passed this, I come to a stop and I have to take a left to come home. And it was a bus stop. And so there was probably 8 to 10 kids at this bus stop, probably around 10 to 12 years old. And as I pulled up to the stop, the kids were to my right. And there was one little boy on the left that was getting ready to cross the street. So I, of course, waved him on. I let him cross. And the second he got to over to the side, I started to take a left. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this other kid come at him and throw off his backpack. And he grabbed this kid and put him like a headlock and just started beating him. And I was already like turning, and I was like, did I just see what like? At first I thought, oh, maybe they're goofing around. They're like, hey, buddy. But as I kind of looked in my rearview mirror, he was just pounding on this kid, and he was holding him so hard that he pulled him and his shoes flew off. And all these other kids were standing there and nobody did anything. And I was like, not on my watch. So I whipped the car around. And when I did that, there was another car that was there, and he turned and he just didn't even look. He didn't even give the time of day. He just went on his way. And I whipped that car around and I pulled up towards him and I opened my car door and I yelled, "Hey!" And all these kids like stopped. And the bully still got this kid in a headlock. I said, "Get your hands off of him." And he was just like, everybody was so shocked. And I was like, and I came at him and I was like, "Listen, you never lay your hands on another person." And he put his hands up and I said, what could possibly need you to put your hands on him? And he was just kind of in shock staring at me. And I asked the other little boy if he was on the ground, his coat was half off, his shoes were off, his backpack was thrown. And I just felt like heartsick because I thought, oh my God, this child. And so I said, "You never lay your hands on another person. I don't care what it is, you use your words." And I turned to the other kids and I said, "And you never stand by and watch this happen. You never do that. One of you go and get an adult."
I think she froze. Dawn? You froze. We lost your audio. You might need to jump out and come back. Here, let me kick her out. There. Then she'll come back. Yeah. Huh. That can happen. So, oh, there she is. Oh, maybe not. Well, she'll come back. Finish the story. It's such a good, powerful story. Let me see if I have to hear. Oh,
so Carla,
no.
if you can hear me, I lost sound.
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah. Let me just a second here. Okay. Do you need to jump out and come back? Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we just lost Dawn and Ron lost sound, so we'll get him back in.
Okay,
What
now we're good.
happened?
I don't know. Ron lost sound and you froze, so
Everything just went crash.
yes, yep. So you were talking. Let's see.
I was bullied. I was
Yes.
bullied by the internet.
I know you were. Where did it freeze?
I think I was at the.
Yeah,
It's so funny that happened just then because I was
I
like,
know.
I said to because I was telling the kids like, you never lay your hands on a person and you never stand by and watch that happen. And if you get an adult or you say something, and then I turned to the kid that was eating, and I said, "Why did you feel the need to put your hands on another person? You never put your hands on another person. You use your words." And he was like, "Well, I go, I don't even want to hear it. This is not an option. You never lay your hands on a person. Do you understand me?" He's like, "Yes." I said, "You apologize to him." And he said, "Sorry." I go, "No, you apologize like you mean it." And he was like, "I'm very sorry." And I said, "I don't ever want to see this again." And I said, "I'll tell you what, I am coming by here every single day and I better not see this again or we will have consequences." And they were all like, "Okay." And they were slightly terrified, which is fine because that was kind of my intent to we don't do this. And so then I went back home and I said, "Are we clear? Is everybody on the same page?" And they're all like, "Yes." I go, "What are you going to do if somebody lays their hands on a person?" And the one kid goes, "I'm going to get an adult." And I was like, "That's right." And I was like, "I'm an auntie first." And so I'm going to always teach a lesson. And so I left. And then the next day, I purposely made sure I was going by that bus stop at that same time. And as I'm approaching the bus stop, the kids are in front of me. And all of a sudden I see them all hitting each other and pointing at me because my car is it's a Kia Soul and it's a sky blue color. So it's a little bit
even brighter than this.
Yeah.
And it has rhinestones on it.
Yeah, and I think it's called surf blue, to be honest. But as I start to approach them, I see them all nudging each other and they're all like, "Hi," just waving really, really sweetly. And I did that for a couple of days. And then I sort of didn't, then I would go see them every once in a while. And they always were waving. And one day I was coming by and I rolled down the window and I said, "Everybody behaving themselves?" And they're like, "Yep, we're not doing that anymore." And I'm like, "Good job, guys." And then about a week or two had passed. And one day I had stopped and just got McDonald's gift cards. I just got a $5 gift card. And so one day I stopped by and I said, I'm very proud of you guys for continuing to do that good behavior. And so I gave them each just a McDonald's. It was just a $5 gift card, and they were very thankful. And to this day, I see them, and they wave at me every morning, and I always see them. So I feel like, I wish somebody would have stopped something when it was happening to me when I was a kid. So there's no way I could just drive by and not say something.
So you've been there too, Dawn. You've been bullied.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I grew up in Chicago, and we went to a Catholic school, so we had to wear uniforms. And at that time, girls weren't allowed to wear pants. So in the winter, we always had to go outside for recess. So I thought I was brilliant in spending my babysitting money on buying these furry socks that look like the Abominable Snowman. They were these white furry socks that would come up past my knees. So I thought I was brilliant because then I was warm, but oh my Lanta, did that cause... So yeah, you can even imagine the names I was called and the teasing and all of this, and it was awful.
People don't realize how those scars stay with you for life, even going on in life and being successful and surrounding yourself with wonderful people. Those don't go away.
I mean, my mom always said words hurt more than like a cut because that heals. Mm-hmm. Those words you can, and my dad was one of those people that my dad had a very good, well, I wouldn't say it's good. He had a very wicked tongue. He could say something that would just devastate you, and that would stick with you. And so that can become a learned behavior. And so I'm sure that with bullying, these kids see somebody taking charge and like being the boss and doing this, and it can be learned behavior. So
absolutely, these kids do it because they see it, or they're around it, or they
don't understand that it's they don't necessarily understand it's wrong.
Exactly.
That's the scary part. If that becomes normal, huh?
It does. And that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, it's even as an adult when you get into these groups that like at work, like sometimes I don't even realize it, and all of a sudden I'll be like, my gosh, that wasn't kind. That wasn't nice what they just did to this other person. But you get in these like cliques or these groups and you don't even realize it's happening.
Yes. I witnessed that recently too, even in a text communication of a form of it, of bullying. And someone did call the person out and said, that was harsh.
Yeah.
And I just didn't respond and remove myself from the behavior. But so it is. It's everywhere. Ron, you did touch on that this happened to you in 5th and 7th grade, and of course, recently. I would love if you would share some of those experiences and stories with our viewers.
Yeah, maybe a little bit like Don. That was a long time ago for me when I was in 5th grade.
Me too.
But I remember it truly like it was just yesterday, and I have no idea why this kid decided to pick on me, but he was pretty smart because it would always happen when the teacher was out of the room, and it would always happen when there was an adult present. And I'm proud of the way that I was brought up, which was don't fight back, right? Have some level of tolerance, show some empathy, and try to get along. Right. And with this person, it was just insufferable. I mean, every chance was just maybe hitting a punch in the side of the arm or in the ribs, or just, not just words. There were a lot of bad words, but also physical violence. Oh. And then finally one day I just had enough. I literally picked up a desk and threw it at him. And in this case, that kind of put a stop to it. But what I learned from that is sometimes with the bully, and Don, I kind of heard what you said, is when they realize that someone has some either authority or some power or is just not going to take it. Yeah. It seems so often the bully turns tail, and it's like, okay, I don't.
Well, when they lose their power, right?
Yeah.
They lose their power. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But to this day, I have no idea. I didn't wear the white fuzzy socks. I have no idea why this particular person, except now as an adult, when I look back, I actually feel sorry for this individual. Now I
Yeah.
understand what they were going through. They were in a very difficult home situation. That is a
Yeah.
10-year-old. You have no idea, right? You don't
Yeah.
Right.
realize that. And then when you
Right.
You
look
don't have to
back, it's
process
like,
all that.
yeah, no, it doesn't even, it didn't even cross my mind, right? And now when I look back, it's like, oh my gosh, what a
Yeah.
difficult situation for this person.
I
That
think
is
that's
a
the one thing age gives us is the ability to be able to look at things differently and to process things differently. Like I see my nieces or younger kids going through things and I'm like, oh gosh, just wait. It's going to get so much easier. It's going to get so much better. But you're in it and you cannot process that.
no.
Yeah.
And very hurtful and very painful. Ron, the phrase from the song "Let Them Talk." You don't wear their chains. You don't have to fight their fight. Um, does this phrase reflect how you handle bullying today?
Well, yeah, fortunately I've matured from throwing desks. So I don't do that too often. But in all sincerity, when I was getting bullied in, a couple different situations that I recall very clearly, I did respond back very, I would say with violence, right? Throwing a desk, or
Yeah.
like, if you do it again, I'm going to punch you back, or
Right.
Mhm.
and that kind of carried into my adult life, where when I
Oh,
would get into a confrontation, I would tend to start to get angry as opposed to really using good problem solving skills.
right.
And for myself, oh my gosh, this is more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. I went
Mm.
through this incredible program that was done by Catholic Charities. I'm not Catholic, but it
Oh,
was open
okay.
open to anyone,
Mhm.
and it was called Men's Work, and it was specifically created to help men learn how to deal with difficult situations, such as bullying,
Mhm.
or other confrontations, without responding with anger or with more
Oh,
violence,
or
because then
violence. Yeah.
things just escalate, right? And
Mhm.
until maybe something horrible happens. And I have to tell you that program, it literally changed my life. It
Oh,
it it was so powerful, very intensive, and the guy, the Bill Feltus, the great leader that led that program, and I'm sitting notes telling him so. It's just amazing to then
yeah.
learn the skills not to respond to a bullying. And so that's my point in this song, and what I've learned now as
Mhm.
an adult is I don't have to wear the same chains that they're wearing, because if somebody's
Oh,
bullying, they've got some chains dragging them down,
yeah.
right? Whatever
Yeah.
that is, and you don't have to fight their fight.
Right.
And then now, I understand there's a higher power that's going to break those claims in the long run, right? And you
Mhm.
just have to be able to work through that.
Yeah.
So you also shared that this has happened to you. For those who are just tuning in, Ron has also been a CEO, or currently kind of is in those types of roles, and has been a top level executive. And it's happened even in that type of situation. Would you share that experience with us?
Yeah, thank goodness. Very rarely. I've been very fortunate in my professional world. Um, Once I learned not to respond with anger and to de-escalate as opposed to escalate,
Mhm.
I've been very, very fortunate. But there was one particular situation where this person just wouldn't let up, and it was horrible things that were being said. That, I believe very strongly that in the business world, as a leader, you have to coach, right? You have to help
Mhm.
people improve. You have to help them get better. And we all
Right.
see on the sports field, if you're teaching someone how to throw a baseball, you don't just say throw harder. You teach them how to throw harder.
Mhm.
And whereas this individual would have said something, in that, to use baseball, would have said something like, you're just a loser. You have no chance to ever throw the ball hard. Just constant put downs to the
Yeah.
people around this person. And so finally it was beyond what I could handle on my own. And so I had to engage this person's higher ups, and have very specific examples. When I say specific
Yeah.
examples, like word for word
Yeah.
of what was taking place, because it's easy for the bully to say, well, I never said that, or
Right.
that's
Mhm.
taken out of context, or I never
Right.
intended it. And in this case, fortunately, those in charge took action. Um,
That's Good.
I had another situation, Carla. I didn't mention earlier, but it just came to mind that
Yeah, thank you.
this was a situation where um, it was when I was a CEO actually, but a close collaborator started just to be the worst bully in the world,
Oh,
and so out of character. But here's where it takes a twist. It turns out that this person had brain cancer and a
Oh,
brain
wow.
tumor, and it had
Wow.
affected their personality. And that
oh,
was the first signs, and it was horribly tragic. I mean,
oh,
the person passed away, and I remember, you know, feeling so bad because in this case, I also had followed up with this person's
yeah.
senior
But you
leaders
had to.
in a
Yeah.
different. This was in a different company, right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
and you know, everybody's just like, oh, he would never act that way. It's like, I'm telling you that that's
But
the
he is.
case. But then as it turned out, and that's the other thing, right, is sometimes we need to show some love and some empathy to the
Right.
bully because there's things going on in their life, maybe
Right.
physical, like cancer, or
Right.
just the chains that they're wearing.
That
You know,
is
that's a good point because I have, you know, it's so funny is I actually was being the bully one day and I caught myself in this cycle and I was so embarrassed.
wow.
It was a very stressful time at work. We were restructuring the office. We were going through a big move. We were moving from one floor to the other, and there was just constant chaos. And we weren't getting communication very clear. And the person driving the communication was driving me bonkers because he was very unclear with communication. He would tell you one thing and then another, and then something different, and it was chaos. So we were on a video call on Teams, and the call was being recorded for those who couldn't make the call. And I was peppering him with all these questions because he just wasn't giving clear answers. He was like a politician, be like, well, you know, when we go over to the fourth and then we do, I'm like, what are you saying? Use words. Like, I was so frustrated because he was talking in circles and he was mumbling and he'd go off on a tangent like, that's not what I asked. And I was like, just driving the point that I needed like these 5 answers. And when the meeting was like, they were like, okay, well, we're done for now. And so we'll reconvene you next week or whatever. And so then one of my friends and I, we kind of stayed on the call and I said, hey, you know, I'll just call her Laura. Hey, Laura, hang on. And so then everybody clicked off. And so it's just Laura and I had a tangent. I said some unkind things, which I'm sad I did, but I was frustrated. I was angry and I was like, burr, 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 burr. And I said some terrible things and we kind of joked and laughed. And then we got off the call and I went on. And about 20 minutes later, somebody sent me a message and said, hey, you know, you're still logged into that Teams call that's being recorded. And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
I immediately lost all feeling in my body.
I would have too.
So I was like, no. And which made me just realize that I was very unkind and I said some terrible things. So I had to own up to it. So I immediately reached out to the person who called the meeting and I was like, hey, Carla, here's the thing. I was a little upset and I said some things I didn't mean and I'm really embarrassed and I don't want them in the recorded call. Is there any way you could edit it and just cut out those last comments? Because I hate to ask, but I was unkind and I'm embarrassed and I don't want to hurt his feelings. And I was just being a child and I'm so embarrassed. Could we please edit that out? And she said, well, it wasn't my meeting. I didn't record it. So not only did I have to own up to it to one person, I had to call another person and own up to it. Tell my story again. And then they said, oh, I actually stopped the recording when the meeting ended. But I didn't know that. So I had to fess up twice. And I was like, that is such a lesson learned. Do not be unkind, no matter how angry you are. Take a breath and walk away, but do not be unkind.
Well, and I think as we get older, we learn.
And I was like, oh, not to them, but it was bully behavior and it was not kind.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, and as we get older, we learn to do that, right? Yeah.
It wasn't violence, but it was anger. So same thing.
Wow. So, bullying, and you just brought this up, bullying isn't always obvious. It can be complex. It can be pressure to engage or do something, dismissing boundaries, or reframing your decisions or choices as wrong. Um, and people don't even always realize it. Like you probably didn't at the time. You were frustrated that what you were doing was, and we've all done or said things we wish we wouldn't have. Um, so when I was thinking about that, I thought as we're going through the show, I'd like to ask you both, what's one thing you believe would actually make a difference in stopping bullying in schools, workplaces, or even communities and neighborhoods?
So just to jump in, I
Yeah.
think it's probably still there. There used to be a sign by the Minneapolis airport as you were driving to the airport that said, "See something, say something." And
Yes.
I don't know if that sign's still there. Hopefully it is. But what happened with Dawn when she stopped at the street? What happened when finally I realized I couldn't solve this on my own and reached out to
Yeah.
someone who could help?
Yeah.
I hope that I can always realize that sometimes we just can't do it on our own, and
Yeah.
sometimes we have to get help, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're weak. I think when I was younger, and for sure back in grade school or middle school, probably even well into my adult life, to get help, I would have associated that with I can't solve my own problems. I'm
Right.
this weak man or this weak human being,
Mhm.
and sometimes you just can't, and sometimes you just have to have help. And so I know you said one thing, Carla, but I'm saying two things. One is see something, say something, and the
Yeah.
other thing is if you're the one being bullied, don't don't take it as you're weak. All right,
Right.
maybe you're being bullied because you're strong, and they're jealous and they're envious of who you are,
Right.
and just it's okay to say something.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that because, in the last couple years, I too was bullied, and it got so bad that I prayed at night, God, just take me. This was shortly after mom and dad passed, and I was just like, just take me. I can go be
Yeah.
with them. But I
Yeah.
didn't, I wasn't suicidal, but I would have, been fine. And then you realize, like, what is going on? Like, this shouldn't be happening. And you do
Right.
talk to coaches and mentors and, professionals that make you realize, like, no, there's something wrong with these people to be so cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if someone's being bullied, just you got to get connected with a counselor or a
Yeah.
pastor, or as you said, mentor, but someone who can help you reset.
Yeah.
It's so critical.
I think that's really important for kids to understand too, because so many kids, there are so many households too that maybe are a single parent and they're working so much, and these kids are kind of on their own a lot, or they don't maybe the parents are just so busy struggling with life, or they have there's so much. But kids have to understand they have aunties, they have neighbors, they have friends, like they have people they can talk to if things are going on. And it's kind of with the see something, say something, but it's so important for kids to understand that if something's happening to them or at them, they can use anybody in their life that's a trusted adult to talk to, because sometimes just getting it out and sharing it, you can say, oh, that happened to me, and did you try doing something like this? Or maybe they're just really jealous of how super awesome you are. So maybe you guys can find something that you have in common. Maybe that can change the behavior. Like there's different ways to try and guide and shift thinking, but it's so important that adults play an important role in kids' lives, no matter where they're at in life.
So true. Good points. Wow, thank you. Anything else either of you would like to add or that I didn't ask you?
Well, one of the things that I really love, and Carla, we've talked about this a little bit, is I'm not affiliated in any way, but Mel Robbins, the let
Yeah.
them theory. I mean, that has gotten me personally through so many situations in my life, because sometimes you get in your own head and you start to think, oh my God, I'm not enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. And Carla and I have had this conversation. I'm the you'll do girl. When nobody else can do anything, they'll call Dawn because they know that she'll just jump in and do this. And you start to live in that. And then all of a sudden you realize, let them. I don't care. Let them. And
Right.
it makes some tough situations a lot easier. So I've really adopted that theory. And I actually want to get a tattoo on my arm so that I can remind myself, because it's just, life is hard.
It is, and messy sometimes. Ron, she even has the "let them" on her car.
Ah, cool.
I remind
All
myself, I
right.
try. I have a ring
Yeah.
too that says it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's my mantra.
What
And
about you,
maybe,
Ron?
well, I think it's kind of how I wrapped up the song, but I think that we're all braver than what we realize
Yeah.
when we just take the step
Mhm.
and just to be brave, and that every single person is strong and can be strong to reach out to an adult or reach out to a counselor or a friend. And I
Mhm.
guess that'd be the last thing is just take action.
Mhm.
Don't just take it or ignore it.
No,
Take
you
some
don't have to
action.
sit in it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I saw somebody start to step in and then got afraid of what the bully would do to them,
Oh,
and
well,
wanted to keep the peace,
yeah.
and it ended up backfiring. The bully then targeted them.
Yeah.
And I get where there's that afraid to be afraid. Most people would not have done what you did, Dawn.
Oh,
99%. But look what you did.
yeah.
And
I
you
mean, I feel like they're my friends now. I see them and I'm like, hey kids, what's up? So, and I like it. I mean, in my heart, I feel like I changed their lives. Not really, because I'm sure they're still like, not doing it in my sight. They're probably beating each other up somewhere else. They're like, is that crazy lady around? Let's go.
no, it was a powerful, what you did was very powerful for the situation, for those kids, for life.
Yeah.
And kudos to you for being that powerful and courageous. I mean, you
Yeah.
never know what could have happened with,
No,
you
I
know,
mean,
it could have
yeah,
turned
it
on
could have
you.
gone. I thought about that afterwards. I thought, like maybe a parent would have seen me like yelling at these kids, and maybe that parent could have come out and been like, oh no, you did, there could have been a conflict or a confrontation. And I mean, it could have been
Mhm.
terrible. But the thing that I find funny though is there wasn't one single parent around. I mean, there
Wow.
was like 8 or 10 kids at that bus stop, and there wasn't a parent to be seen, not even one. And I was like, that's kind of
Hmm.
interesting to me. You think there'd be one maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting. Well, and for those of you that are watching, if you saw someone being bullied today, what would you do differently after hearing these stories tonight? I hope that you would take action. And might not be in Dawn's situation. It might be something at work or in your neighborhood or in your community or even at church and sports. I mean, it doesn't discriminate. It
Right.
happens everywhere. And seeking advice if you're the one being bullied, or coaching or counseling, it's okay to get help of how to deal with it. I know sometimes ChatGPT, I've even asked ChatGPT like how to respond, and just because you want to de-escalate things.
Yeah.
And that has also been good. Is there anything else that either of you would like to share?
Yeah, I guess maybe just I believe at the end of the day, just showing love to our fellow people
Mhm.
can go so far with regards to stopping bullying. Let's just show some love and be kind.
Kindness costs nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
And don't buy white furry socks.
My
Noted.
witty
Noted.
No,
my witty,
note to
funny
self.
friends. Oh my goodness. Well, and to those tuning in, thank you for being a part of this caring community. We've had some really great comments. Thank you, Deborah, for sharing, and
Yeah.
Lloyd and Lori Witt. I really appreciate your comments, and I know there may be comments. We go out to 8 different places at once, so I will check. Most of them come right to me, so I can see them all. But and don't be afraid to reach out and private message me. Tonight's conversation reminds us of something very simple but very powerful. Bullying doesn't stop on its own. It stops when someone decides to step in or speak up. And tonight we heard what that can look like from real moments, real experiences, real courage. So as you go into the rest of the week, I want to reiterate what both Ron and Dawn said and leave you with this: is be aware, be kind and loving, and when it matters most, be the one who stands up. This takes one moment, one voice, one person that can make all the difference in the world. Thank you all for tuning in and being with us tonight, along with Don Staycoff and Ron Wulfkuhle. I'm Carla Berlin, and we hope that you have a great night. Anything that you two would like to say, parting words?
Not just thanks for opening the door to this, Carla. The world needs to step into this.
Yeah. And we're all vulnerable. We all have made mistakes. We've all done things, but we can teach the children.
Yes. You are so right. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. When I saw the Let Them Talk, when Ron had posted that, I was like, I private messaged him and asked, what that was. And he shared about the grandchild. And then when I asked, if he would be on the show and you as well, and you both agreed. And then as we started to peel back the layers, I realized, wow, this goes deep. And we all have been bullied, and it isn't just a fifth grader or second grader kids, or it's everywhere into the boardroom and in the executive world. So we've learned that too. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insight. Thank you all. We've had a great crowd online for sharing all of your comments and kindness and support too. And I hope to see you back here next week as we celebrate Around Town hit the airwaves on April 28th of 2003. So next Tuesday evening, it'll be 23 years. So
Wow.
Anniversary.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. I couldn't do it without wonderful guests and topics like both of you and all of you fabulous viewers and followers. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Around Town TV Live. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.